How did you decide to shoot Kundun, and why?
Okay. I was attracted to it because of the life of the Dalai Lama, because he's a man who represents a certain moral authority in the world, in that he actually, I believe through his actions, from what I've seen over the years and from what I've read, is a man who really lives by his religious convictions of pacifism, nonviolence, and compassion and love. And I think it's an interesting thing because through this behavior, he's been able to draw the world's attention to what's happened in Tibet and what has happened to his country also being his religion at the same, tied together. And so I've always been interested in people who could really live that way. Over the years, I've been fascinated by certain Catholic saints, like Saint Francis, for example. So many.
And Jesus, because you...
And Jesus, yeah.
Because
Jesus,
you did...
Yeah, Last Temptation of Christ, because the Jesus says of... Jesus deals with love and compassion as the keynote to... the keystone, I should say, to all, the entire religion. There are details or arguments back and forth, that sort of thing, but he even goes as far as to say, turn the other cheek, and love your enemy, which is an interesting thing. I don't know, I mean, are we capable of that as human beings? Is that in our nature? Is the compassionate and the compassionate side of our nature, will that win out over the animal side, which is violence, ultimately as a species? It's an interesting thing. Why hasn't this been resolved in our nature yet? What are we really capable of? What are we? And that's why I was interested in a man who's actually living this out, because he's made it aware, he's made the world aware of what's happened in his country, whether people agree with it or not politically, but he's made them aware of it through dialogue, through presenting himself around the world, showing up, talking, and making people aware of this. And I find that to be an interesting, a very, very important example for young people and for everybody in the world.
Are you interested in Buddhism, or are you still a Catholic?
No, I'm still a Catholic. I just find that Buddhism has certain similarities, and actually certain concepts which could help you in life. I think there's that 20th century life now. 20th century is over. We're going to the 21st century, and things are so complicated. The world is so dangerous. It's much more dangerous than it was during the Cold War. And I think anything that could help achieve a peace of mind, not all the time, because we're human, but at some points in our life, I think it's going to be grasped at. You see, I think people are going to go for it. And I think that's what's so interesting now about, that's why I think there's so much interest in Buddhism in the West, I think, because Buddhism represents a certain way of behaving and thinking.
I have to ask you one question that is really very important for our program. Is what do you think that films are good for?
I guess I've always felt that, the first answer that comes to mind for me is seeing a film and identifying with the people in the film and going through a story or a situation which is cathartic. And I think it's something that you go through an experience, an emotional and philosophical experience. I think more than psychological. I think emotionally. I think that's what it really is about. And I don't say that every time you see a film you may want to do that. I mean, there's another way of looking at films such as pure entertainment, which is all right. But I know that in the pure entertainment, there's also films that have been made under the guise of pure entertainment in which you go through an emotional experience. And I think it's like living out a story, very much the same way as the ancient Greeks did Oedipus Rex and Medea and that sort of thing, to teach you a lesson in life, to have you go through what the characters go through and reach a certain catharsis.